It was March of the year 1865, nearly 4 years after the Civil War has begun. Confederates are in deep need of soldiers now, and they have agreed upon using African Americans on the battlefield. There has been no written terms about freedom after the Civil War, but everyone has agreed upon it. Lincoln also spoke directly to Confederate people about peace.
Many thousands of troops and high-ups have been captured from the Confederacy by the Union. The Confederacy is in desperate need of a trade plan to acquire these people back. John Wilkes Booth, with a band of acquaintances and friends, has the idea to kidnap the president. On March 17th, he hides by the road, waiting for President Lincoln's party to pass. But President Lincoln has decided to stay and not go on the roads that night. Thus, the plan is thwarted.
John Wilkes Booth has already tried to kidnap Abraham Lincoln, and it failed. So he has decided to kill Abraham Lincoln with a three-pronged attack. He's going to kill Abraham Lincoln, and David Herold is going to help him escape. Lewis Payne is to kill the Secretary of State, and George Atzerodt is supposed to kill Andrew Johnson, the Vice President. It's the day to kill Abraham Lincoln, and George has backed out his part to kill Andrew Johnson, the Vice President. So John Wilkes Booth has decided to go get a drink, and later that night he went to the Ford Theater and into the presidential box where the guard wasn't there because he got bored of the play and went and got a drink. So he easily walked in and shot President Lincoln in the head. Also, Lewis Payne has forcefully entered the house of the Secretary of State and stabbed him several times, but he actually lived.
Powell and David Herold met with Booth, and together they fled on horseback. They went first to Surrattsville to gather weapons and supplies. It is undetermined between historians where they plan to go next. Herold then abandoned Powell. He and Booth fled to Surrattsville to get guns, and they enlisted the help of Dr. Mudd to fix Booth's leg. They then stayed at the house of Samuel Cox, in the woods, at Lucas Farm, and at Garrett's Farm, where they were finally caught.
On April 26th, Booth and Herold are cornered at Garrett's Farm. The authorities threaten to burn down the barn that they're in if they don't come out. Herold loses his nerve and comes out, but Booth stays in the barn. The authorities set the barn on fire, and Booth still remains. Eventually, Booth is shot through the flames, still remaining in the barn. This marks the end of the chase for Booth. Here.
On May the 9th, 1865, 8 people were arraigned for conspiring to kill the President, the Vice President, and the Secretary of State. These included David Herold and Lewis Powell. They were subsequently convicted on July the 5th. Although some were pardoned by then-President Andrew Johnson, the remainder were hanged by the neck until dead on July the 7th, taking a full 5 minutes to hang some of them.
It was March of the year 1865, nearly 4 years after the Civil War has begun. Confederates are in deep need of soldiers right now, and they needed to resort to blacks that can kill you, Tyrone. Tyrone's gonna get you. Tyrone's gonna get you. Lock your doors.
Honey, are my pants pressed yet?
Lock your doors.
It's filming, Brock.
Tyrone, no, Tyrone. Tyrone.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you.